Well, the Buffs start the season with a victory over North Dakota State. What was the good and the bad of the game? The New Jersey's premiere, when can you buy your own? Shedeur gets a massive brand deal. What's next for him? Plus more, all coming at you next on Buffs News Weekly.
Give me my theme music!
What's up, Buffs Nation, and welcome to Buffs News Weekly, your only weekly resource to catch up on all Colorado football news. I am your host, Russ Dornish. We are approaching the 2,000 subscriber milestone, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Now, let's jump right in. Well, we survived North Dakota State this past Thursday, winning 31-26 in the first game of the season. While I know that many fans may be negative about the game, I believe there is plenty to build off of for Colorado that could lead to an overall improved season. First, the good. Of course, Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders had absolutely ridiculous games with insane stats. Shedeur ended the game with a 76.5 completion percentage, 445 total yards, and 4 touchdowns, while Travis Hunter went off, catching 3 touchdowns, while also playing defense and only allowing 18 yards in coverage, playing all the snaps except for 2, one of those being because his helmet came off. On top of that, Jimmy Horn Jr. also showed out, gaining 198 yards, plus a touchdown on top of that. Needless to say, the offense was clicking most of the night and was definitely a massive plus. Defensively, there was some good when it came to the defensive line, with Chidozie Nwankwo getting the first sack of the season and stuffing the run regularly as he had a successful debut as a Buff. There was, of course, plenty of bad, as Colorado has plenty they can use to learn from going forward. While penalties were lower overall from last year's averages, Colorado still shot itself in the foot a few times in very important cases on easily avoidable penalties. CU also had issues with North Dakota State University's Cam Miller, who used both his arm and feet to keep North Dakota State in the game. Now, you could tell that Colorado's focus was to stop the run game. However, North Dakota State's Cam Miller at quarterback had one of his best career games in passing and using his legs to scramble out of pressure. As for a stat many people should be used to seeing, ESPN released the ratings for the CU and North Dakota State game, and Shedeur's comment of being everyone's Super Bowl is proven right yet once again, as the CU versus NDSU was ESPN's best Thursday night opener since 2017 and garnered 4.8 million viewers with a peak of 5.6 million viewers. It was also the most watched piece of television Thursday night by nearly double the audience of anything else. I am sure it won't be the biggest game that Colorado has this year, with next week and CSU week having great chances to break those numbers. I expect that now that Colorado is in the Big 12 and going to be getting more national TV rather than a Pac-12 game, that we are going to see much higher numbers overall in the total number of eyeballs that will be watching Colorado games throughout the season. Now, if you want a further breakdown of the game, make sure to join the Buff Blitz this Wednesday night as myself and David Talks Buffs looks back at the previous game, as well as we will look forward to and preview our next game against Nebraska. Here's a little taste of what you might have missed on last Wednesday's episode. He is a generational talent. He is an insane athlete. Nobody can match him. He is going to be, like you said, a cheat code in tomorrow's game. It is going to be easy to get him the ball in space and make plays. NDSU's defenders are going to have nightmares. They're going to have PTSD after this game, seeing what Travis is about to do in front of them. He is going to embarrass some of them. It's just going to happen. Again, no disrespect to NDSU. They're going to have some plays. They're going to make some good plays here and there on other people. Travis Hunter, 100%. I think he is going to come out after last year missing so much time with injury, after so much talk in the offseason about him being the best player in college football and people saying that that's not true and all those. I think he comes out and makes a statement on both sides of the ball. Now, outside of the game, we had plenty of other news to cover, so buckle up. We are recording this video Friday night in case any news breaks on Saturday at all, just so that you know. And if it does break, we will cover it on next week's video. Now, probably the biggest news of this past week was the release of information that Shedeur Sanders has officially become the first college NIL athlete signed to Nike to both a shoe and apparel deal. Already since this happened, we've seen billboards popping up across cities, including Times Square in New York City. One thing that Colorado athletes, even beyond Shedeur and Travis, get is bona fide true NIL deals coming left and right. We even found out in the last couple of weeks that Jimmy Horn Jr. had signed a deal with Freddy's National Burger Chain for his own NIL deal. Now, the Nike deal for Shedeur is massive, and being the first collegiate athlete to sign such deal with them is that much bigger. It sounds like a part of the deal is potentially giving Shedeur his very own shoe, like his dad got back in the 90s and has been re-released this past year. When asked about it, Shedeur said he would love to see kind of an updated look to the shoe that would make it more of his own creation. We are super happy for Shedeur and representing Colorado on such a big national stage. In some more news that most of the national media has not covered to the extent that it has, of course, our drama, Coach Prime partnered with a local bank to provide something wonderful and caring to players on his team. Prime partnered with Elevations Credit Union, located in Boulder and all over Colorado, to open up savings accounts for his players that have kids or kids on the way. Each player will get an account with $2,121 or $2,121 to start in a special account that will see those kids being helped to go to college once they turn 18. In his speech about doing this, Coach Prime talks about the importance of being a father, and as he is their coach and father figure, he wanted to provide them with some help and stability to the future of his players and their kids. It's a gesture like that that encourages me and appreciate Coach that much more for what an amazing person he is, no matter what others may think of him or whatever the media thinks of him with their national headlines. Coach Prime really does care about his players, and he shows that day in and day out. You could see a number of his players re-showing and retweeting this all over X, showing that, yes, our coach really does care for us. It is truly a heartwarming story, and we are so glad to see it come. Now for some injury updates from this past week coming out from the game and before. First up, the only known injury from the game came early when starting safety Cameron Silman-Craig went out with an apparent concussion that he suffered in the first couple of plays. He was unable to return to the game, and his status for next week has not yet been confirmed. And then before the game, it was confirmed via an Instagram post that incoming transfer new receiver Cordell Russell was having surgery to treat an injury, meaning that he will definitely be missing some time, if not the whole season. Again, we don't have any confirmation as to the extent of the injury or what is injured and whether or not the surgery is definite in meaning that he won't play this season. We do wish Cordell a speedy recovery and hope to see him return to the field really soon. In other news, in regards to the university as a whole, that seems to tie to Coach Prime and the team. Some stats about admissions for this fall for CU were released, stating that 7,000 new incoming freshmen are attending the school, with applications for this fall having been up 20%, and the school hitting over 60,000 in applications for the very first time. What's even more interesting is that the apps for people of color were up 29%, and applications for Black/African American applicants were up over 50% from prior records. Talk about the prime effect in full force. Another part of the game that we want to discuss very briefly is we finally got to see the new jerseys. Now, I did say in our post-game show with David Talks Buff, which you can find just above, that I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a hype video or some kind of really cool reveal, which I feel could have been done very tastefully, especially with the Flatirons theme that it seems Colorado is going with in its jerseys this season. However, getting to see those jerseys on the field in the combination that we saw Thursday night, I absolutely love what they did to incorporate such an iconic scene from the Boulder skyline into the team's uniforms. We also found out today, Friday, that the jerseys have been put up on Fanatics websites, and not only is there a black version, but there is also a white version already released, letting us know that we will see some semblance of these jerseys in different color matching in further games in the future. So, if you would like to purchase your very own jersey, they are available for pre-order, with releases looking to come at the end of September. However, the jerseys are only being sold with the number 1 and no name on the back. No announcement yet if we will see NIL players added just yet for those jerseys or when we might see that, as well as are those the only jerseys that have been released or will be released thus far. Stay tuned right here to Buffs News Weekly to find out more when we see if we do have some other combinations coming further down the line during this season. I wanted to announce a schedule change with CU mostly playing on Saturdays going forward. I want to let everyone know that the weekly news video will be now on Sunday evening instead of Saturday for the rest of the season. So, be on the lookout, make sure you're subscribed so you know when the news video goes live each and every week, and I'll catch you every Sunday for the news. And that'll do it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you join us on Wednesday for our pregame show, as well as a potential postgame show after the Nebraska game next week. I will see you next Sunday for the news. For Buffs News Weekly, I'm Russ Dornish. Sco Buffs!
Give me my theme music!